EGM Network.
Welcome to the Lori Davis Show, where it's all about the amazing lifestyle on our Treasure Coast. And here's your host and realtor for life, Lori Davis.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's good to be back. I was gone for a couple of weeks. This is my first show, right? Cindy, since I've been back.
Second
show?
Something
Did I have one last week? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either.
Anyway, I'm really glad to be back. I hope everybody is cleaning up after, some weather events that happened. Some of it didn't happen to any of you. Nothing happened at all. Merely a strong windstorm, rainstorm. And then other people had significant devastation. So I hope you guys are getting to clean up after that. Cindy, anything at your place? After the big tree?
I had what do you call it, when you get the free tree trimming?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. All right. So you're not losing, you got your power?
The power actually, it came back when I came back from Lara's. I did drive up to Lara's, my daughter's in Melbourne, because she's got a better house than I do and whatever, and didn't realize we had gotten hit by 5 tornadoes when I'm driving through it. And the police are like, why are these people out on the road? There was like 5 cars of it, but we didn't know.
Nobody knew. And I saw a video of that.
Yeah.
Somebody had a tornado coming off into your road.
Yeah.
And everybody was just pulled over the side of the road.
Yeah. We didn't know.
I know.
You knew the phone kept going off, but you didn't know where they were. I mean, Indian River County, okay, well, it's a kind of a not huge county, but it can be anywhere. It can be 10 miles west.
Well, and honestly, I don't know that I've ever heard a tornado warning come off of my phone, and everybody said their phones start going off. They didn't even know what it meant.
Well, does
it say?
Yeah, it did say it.
Tornado warning?
Yeah, and
it's not a feature. They didn't blow them when I was over in London, which is when this happened, but it was like constant. It didn't come across.
It was constant, every 5 seconds, constant.
Okay.
But you didn't know where.
Well, that was the thing, was confusing. So people didn't know, is it now? Is it then? Was it then? Over there? Here?
They did the traditional one, for lack of a better word, where it says, okay, tornado warnings from 4 p.m., 4:30 p.m. until 5.
Yes.
Okay, so what do? You go in the bathtub for half an hour?
That's it.
I mean, I'm not being facetious,
but
you do.
We
didn't know.
You do.
Yeah, so I drove up to
So you drove in it. You got in the car and drove on the road.
Me and my cat, and I'm like, I don't know what. And then you see all these weird emergency vehicles, not like police or anything, with all the lights. I never saw them before. Maybe I'm just brain dead. And I'm like, something serious must have happened. And
oh my God, tornadoes. We had a lot of them. It was
5.
crazy.
Yeah. That was crazy.
It was. And again, we've got somebody in the house today that's from a very sophisticated, we have a wonderful gentleman in the house who we love, who's in the insurance business. And, you can't prepare for that. No. You cannot. You can have windstorm, flood, you can have all the insurance, but you cannot prepare for a tornado. Nope. You can save yourself. Right? You can protect yourself and get yourself into a safe spot.
Hopefully.
But other than that, it's going to do what it's going to do. So if it gets over your house. Anyway, today, although we tape, you guys all know we tape on Tuesdays. Today is election day. And so by the time we play this on Sunday, we should know a little bit more about who's going to be the president, because it's sure, I know. I was very unsettled today. I even said that to our guest. I was like, till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I was like, oh, God, it doesn't matter which way it goes. I just want people to be happy. I want everybody to stop being so divisive. I want people to stop arguing, and start coming together and figuring out how we can all work together to do this. We live in a beautiful country. We do. We could complain, but even then, if you realize what all we have, especially sitting here in Vero Beach, guys, versus, big cities or other countries or other continents that don't have it as good as we do. Anyway, but I still feel it in my heart. I'm an empath. Let's introduce our guest today, because I want him to be part of the conversation from the very beginning. He is currently a senior VP, private client advisor with Brown & Brown Insurance. They're the company right there on Beachland Boulevard between A1A and Ocean Drive. He's been in the insurance business since moving to Vero Beach in 2015. He specializes in high-value homes and condos, provides a full suite of insurance products, including home, auto, umbrella, jewelry, etc., because you might need that. He can do all that, and then he can just take care of you if you just need something done. So he's my go-to guy. He and Cindy were talking today before, and we found out some things that could help Cindy out significantly. So it really, you don't have to be of that caliber. If you call me, I'll get you to Roger. How's that? Anyway, he has a beautiful wife, Samantha, 2 wonderful children, Lucy and Riley. Let's take this opportunity to introduce Roger Lynch. Welcome to the show.
Thank
How are you?
Great.
You are, we booked this to have you on the show, as we were talking earlier, long before we had this event. And then I thought how topical, how, perfectly timely to have you on the show. So I appreciate it because I know you're super busy.
Nope.
So tell us, a lot of people have questions about what's the insurance industry like? What is the post, tornado versus hurricane, whatever. Tell us what's going on in the insurance business in your world today.
Yeah, thank you. It's been an interesting few weeks. I've been doing this for a long time, living on a barrier island in Vero Beach, Florida. And, in 11 years of doing this, I've never had a wind claim until, literally a week ago. So
really?
You think about it, you would think, in Florida, you would have year after year claims where people are having roof damage, wind damage, and 11 years, I've never had I broke the seal last 2 weeks ago with having wind damage. And again, typically it was only 1 or 2 claims. So I was very fortunate, very lucky. So the market is, I think the misnomer out there is the market is, in Florida, very challenged. It did go through a period of time the last 3 years where that was the case.
Yes.
The market up until this, last 2 storms, I had always said, I think if we can get through this season without an incident, we are really going to be in a good spot. And then, of course, we get two hurricanes. I still think it will be well into 2025 before we even see an outcome of rate increases or anything along those lines. So I think the message that I am still trying to get out in the marketplace, that the market in Florida is not as bad as everyone thinks. There is optimism out there. There are new carriers coming into the market.
That's what I've heard.
The carriers that are here are sharpening their pencils. Their rate increases are not as significant. They're being a little bit more creative. The pricing is coming down. Renewals are coming in flat versus significant rate increases versus 2 or 3 years ago. And it's overall things are getting better. DeSantis made a couple of significant changes to legislation, and which encouraged insurance carriers to come back in. Okay. So again, there's positive signs. It is a market where we are finding multiple carriers, and prices are. I feel compared to the rest of the country, we're still expensive.
We are,
but
I know.
It is.
People come in and go, "What?"
Getting better.
Yes, it is. Now, in the situation that we had, because the hurricane that came through, Helene, or Milton, it was a non-event hurricane, pretty much.
Correct.
Most people didn't have damage from that.
Correct.
They had damage from a tornado.
Correct.
But that's still a wind event, correct?
100%.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a lot of wind.
It's a lot of wind.
It's even crazier wind than a hurricane blows, right?
I think everyone has seen some of the videos that are on social media, and it took 15 seconds, if less than that, to see what that damage could do. So unlike a hurricane that is hours and hours and hours of lashing wind, this was over and done in 15 seconds and equally as catastrophic. So something, again, you have to always be careful of. But on your homeowner's policy, that is always covered.
That's the wind. Just so people know, like a tornado is wind. Yep. I don't know if everybody knows that, right?
It's just always, again, what your deductible is.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
You have to pay your deductible. But other than that, there is coverage available under your policy for that. The other question was, we did have some flooding in Vero.
That was going to be one of my questions.
Yeah, sorry to preempt you.
No, it's fine. No, wait, let's talk about it because that's what people want to hear.
Yeah. So, flood is, I get that question quite a bit. And flood is one of those things that most people just say, you know what, I think I'm okay on. I don't, what's the flooding in Vero? And I typically say we don't have a flooding history here. So the rates have gone up and people are always looking for ways in this tough economic environment to save some money. And I think they're willing to roll the dice a little bit and say, I'll pass on the flood insurance.
Right.
And unfortunately, some people learned the hard way, and we did have some flooding incidents. I've never had flooding, experienced it, but we even drained our pool at our house and we got 10 or 11 inches of rain.
Oh.
And our streets started flooding. The backyard started flooding, and there was nowhere to go. I mean, the water was coming up against the back doors.
Yeah.
My wife was like, get the sump pump. And I'm like, there's nowhere to pump it. I mean, it's coming up the front. So luckily it didn't get much higher, but it got to a point where I've never seen it.
Yes.
And again, we would have been covered for that. But there was other people's that I think also had flooding. And, you know, if they didn't have flood insurance, I think everyone's kind of saying, maybe that's something I should pay a little bit more attention to.
Correct. Now, and I've always gotten flood insurance. And as a realtor selling homes, we talk about insurance. And if you don't have a mortgage, you don't have to buy insurance. Okay? You don't. Nobody's going to make you do that. A lot of people, it's called self-insuring. You're saying that I'm going to save the money. And if there's damage to my home from wind, because that's a wind policy, generally people will get a homeowner's policy. Or do they just go straight up? It's called going naked. Do they not even get homeowners, or do they get some kind of liability?
I would say if they're going to do anything, they would get a liability policy only that just covers them in case anybody's on their property that slips and falls. Typically very, very inexpensive.
Right.
I would say 98% of my clients do not have that. I think it's very brave to go completely naked on that. So the big trend right now is a lot of people are self-insuring for the wind.
Right.
Because wind
but taking the other, I think that's really smart. I mean, you can go, because the wind is going to be the most expensive part.
It makes up about 60% of the premium.
Right. But the flood, now I live in an ex-flood zone. I live out on the island, and we've been there for 24 years, and it's inching up because it's FEMA. It's the National Flood.
It's a FEMA policy.
Right. So you're going to buy it from the government. The maximum is $250,000, right?
Yep.
Can you buy more flood insurance from you guys?
Great question. The answer is yes.
It is. I wanted to know that.
It's called,
I don't need it, but some people do.
It's called excess flood coverage.
Okay.
It's an additional policy. So what happens is sometimes, obviously in Vero, you have very nice homes. So if you have a
some around the water
multi-million-dollar home, $250,000 of flood coverage is a small Band-Aid on a multi-million-dollar home.
Right.
So you can buy limits above $250,000 up until the dwelling limit. So if you have a house insured for $2 million, you could buy another $1.75 million of flood insurance. So
I did not know that.
it's just what you are willing to pay for it, but it is available.
Is it a lot though, or does it just go up by increments? Like the 250 takes you.
You have to, in order to get the excess flood, you have to have the primary 250,000.
Yes.
I would say the problem has been there's a number of carriers that after the last, especially hurricanes on the West Coast, there hasn't been any capacity to write excess flood. So even when we've had clients saying, hey, I would want to purchase it, we don't have any markets.
Not yet.
They're closed.
Not yet.
Slowly markets will open up again and we'll have some capacity. But right now it's pretty limited as what we can purchase.
Right. And what I'm talking about for everybody that lives on the mainland, you don't have to be on the island. There's the minimum policy, and you need to call and find out, depending on where your house lives. I'm in an ex-flood zone. Ex-flood zone is like the least likely. It's a 100 to 500 year flood plan.
Less than a 1% chance of annualized flooding.
Correct. But guess what happens? And I tell everybody that I sell a house to, once it starts raining, and it keeps raining, and it keeps raining, and it's rained for a week, and then the hurricane comes, like Roger was saying at his house. Now it's not the flood. It's not a tsunami. It's not this. It's just the water starts rising. It has nowhere to go.
Right. It's saturated.
It's saturated. Yeah. And in McCanish, I know they get flooded streets. I mean, you're walking up in, ankle deep water. I mean, it can happen. I know over on 35th, I had a client and his car floated into like the swale. Yeah. Like it was like a Toyota or something like that. But he lives on the island, but he went over to check on his property and it was like, my car was in the swale. I mean, it's that deep. So that's why you have to have flood insurance. So look it up. Just check it out. It's really worth it.
30% of homes in an ex-flood zone will flood.
They will flood. Yes, they will. My street floods every time.
It just doesn't mean it can't flood. The chances are reduced, but it doesn't mean it's impervious to flooding. So there's still an opportunity very much. And again, my house is in an X zone.
Right.
And
I know you are.
Another couple of inches, I'm not sure what we would have done.
I know. Well, my brother was he was west of town, and he's between 20th and 27th Avenue over, in those, I don't know what avenue he's on. But he's like, I go, okay, plastic bags. He saw it coming up the backyard, right? garbage bags, then the towels, then whatever, and then, it's going to be, you have homeowners that got insurance, but try and keep it out. Cindy, did you want to say something?
Well, that's the sandbags, too. I mean, I wondered about that.
I sandbagged my front door.
Yeah, you know what? I wondered about that, to do that this time.
Yeah.
In mine, I'm like, you know what? I wonder if I should go do the sandbags or not. And I didn't. And I didn't have any flood.
No, not on your street.
No.
But in your neighborhood, there were people that had a lot of water on the streets, no?
No.
And we lost power for 4 days, too. So,
Yeah. Oh, gosh, yeah. I was out for 5 days.
Yeah. So.
I mean, and Cindy, you didn't lose any power.
Yeah, I did. I lost it.
Oh, you did?
I lost it like 5 minutes after the storm started. I'm just going to say this because whatever, I'll get the nasty mail. And I was like, what in the world is FP&L doing? We don't have any power already. Well, it was when the tornado hit.
Yeah.
And it knocked the poles down. And I'm like, oh, yikes. When I realized what it was, I was like, this is bad.
I know it was bad.
So we were out for like a day. So shout out to FP&L. They got it fixed right away. They did.
Yeah.
They did.
I have a question, Roger, because this we remember this. I was living here in 2004, so it's been 20 years. That's when we had Francis and Jean. That was the 1-2 punch that a lot of us that have lived here for a while remember. I'm going to ask this straight up. We lost power and we had to empty out our fridge.
Yes.
So we lost that.
Yep.
We have 2 fridges of food.
Yep.
Last time they were giving you like a $500 credit for your refrigerator of food. Do they still do that?
Depends on the carrier.
Okay. But I mean, you've heard of that, right?
I've heard of that, yes.
I mean, my neighbor and I were like, didn't we do this 20 years ago?
But I think FEMA stepped in and some of the other ones did too.
You know what? I bet it was FEMA.
Yeah, it wasn't
I bet
the
it was
insurance
FEMA.
It was FEMA or one of the other ones.
Who it was.
Yeah.
That's who it was.
Because they
went
still
to them,
did it
but not
this
our
time.
carrier.
And North Carolina, you had to sign up. You have to go and sign up for it, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Yes. A question that I had, Roger, for a lot of people. We know, everybody, if you own a home and you're listening to the show or watching the show, if you have a mortgage, you're going to have insurance. Correct. All right. Can you be denied homeowners insurance?
Never seen it.
Okay.
Never seen it.
So,
I've seen some very high premiums.
Yes.
And
right. But then what about a buyer is it credit score involved in that?
It is. It's called an insurance score.
Okay.
That they'll look at just to see. And sometimes I will say that we run run a quote and with the husband's date of birth and the number has not been so cooperative. And all of a sudden we're like, we have your wife's date of birth and run it and we'll get a totally different premium because she's got a much better insurance score.
Okay.
So it does factor into the overall premium. Okay,
good. Because that's something I think some people are wondering about. Listen, we have to take a break. We pay for this with a couple commercials. We'll be back with Roger Lynch from Brown & Brown Insurance. He's going to take care of us. And if you need him, you're going to call Lori Davis because I'm going to get you in touch with Roger. See you in a second.
It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
Big news, Treasure Coast. Your favorite mortgage team just got even better. Introducing the same trusted faces you know and love, now with Union Home Mortgage.
Hi, this is Shannon Pohl.
Hi, this is Lucy Cranker. And these high-producing team members bring decades of experience, unwavering honesty, and hearts of gold to every home loan. And here's the best part. Same local processing, underwriting, and appraisers you rely on. Contact Union Home Mortgage.
Visit us online at shannonpohl.com
and lucycranker.com.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats, and chairs in all the latest styles and colors from Tommy Bahama, Lexington, Hooker, Riverside, Universal Coastal Living, Four Seasons, Braxton Color, and Capri. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have hundreds of styles of any patio furniture you need, including a gallery of Berlin Gardens and Bollywood. We specialize in fire pits, outdoor rugs, umbrellas, and replacement cushions. Right now, we're having a huge fall sale with lots of great markdowns and discounts on everything you need for your Florida home, including all pictures, lamps, and accessories half price. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Family owned and operated since 1991. Don't forget to visit our outlet store directly across the street, filled with lots of brand name closeout and sale items. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine.
Hey, welcome back to the show. We've got Roger Lynch here from Brown & Brown Insurance, just giving us all the information we need. And you know what? I think if you got someone like Roger or you got an insurance agent that you can call, it certainly is a comfort in your life. And you should find, if you're not going to work with Roger, but find someone that you can call, that you feel like you can call in those times. We were talking about, I had an event and didn't call mine because I was afraid they were going to drop me. I mean, I shouldn't live in a world like that, but we may have to for a little bit. But we do have insurers coming in. Roger, we wanted to talk about how can you lower your rate on your and again, this is the wind we're talking about specifically, right? Because homeowners is pretty basic.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of different ways, but the premium, as we mentioned, wind makes up a very large percentage of the premium. So you need to look at the house and obviously what credits can you do. So obviously the newer roof, the more updated a house is.
Yes.
If it has the updated windows and doors, it has all those credits, that certainly helps. If you add a generator, if you add, the biggest thing that we are asking clients to do right now is add what is basically called a water shutoff device system. There's a number of these that are called Flow Logic. So the number one claim that we have, hands down, is water loss, which comes from a pipe burst. The ice maker starts leaking, the dishwasher, washing machine, and it could be a 10-cent seal on a back bathroom in the guest bathroom that all of a sudden ruptures
2 inches through the whole house.
And you have hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage in seconds. So, not seconds, but in a very short period of time.
Well, if you don't live here, if you're out of town for the weekend.
Sometimes I've had clients where it's a slow leak. It's been running, and all of a sudden they look at the kitchen, and all of a sudden they're like, why is the floors buckling? And then by the time they realize what's going on, floor's got to come up. There's damage to the cabinets. I've had clients who had to move out for a period of time. So a water shutoff system is basically a very smart system that they attach to your pipes. Okay. It's actually an alert that goes right to your phone. So if it senses that water is running when it shouldn't be, it's actually a smart device. It learns your habitual habits. Yeah. And maybe you take longer showers on a Saturday. And so it learns from you over a period of time. And if there's water that is running to an amount that the system feels it's uncomfortable, it will literally shut the water off and send an alert to your phone.
No kidding. So is it on the outside of the house?
Yeah. So
the incoming line, the incoming water line.
But it knows, everything from the pipes, the showers.
Sure. They know what your dishwasher uses and your washing machine.
And it learns from it. So
that's
it's an amazing thing. And a lot of the homeowners carriers are giving very nice credits when you install these systems. It's about a $2,500 system to install, so it's not cheap.
Okay.
But when it comes
it's reasonable.
But that's reasonable given what you're going to lose.
Yeah, because we do not have, that's the number one claim. And those
is that covered under your homeowners?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, good.
But
I need to know. I think my dishwasher's leaking.
It's
my floors in my kitchen. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I've just seen where a guy installed a brand new ice maker and the guy installed it wrong, and next thing you know, water's running and didn't know it, and
gosh.
Big losses. And so
yes, it is.
It's just that's one thing that you can certainly help do, and one thing that's a very preventative measure,
right?
That helps mitigate losses.
I love that. That's something as a realtor that we should definitely tell people about. Now, we were talking about lowering rates, deductibles. We talked about that.
Yep.
But if you get your deductible to a point where, that's the frustrating part.
It's just frustrating. There's only so much. It's a risk tolerance. How high a deductible do I want to go versus how much savings am I really going to get? And then if the deductible gets too high, am I even going to be able to file a claim because it's not going to meet the deductible?
Correct.
So it's just a balance that we talked about.
I know.
And then if you do have a mortgage, the bank is only going to limit you to what deductibles you can pay.
They're going to dictate that.
And it's a case-by-case scenario, and that's why I think it's very important to sit down with whoever your insurance agent is and look at all your options to figure out how to get that premium.
Absolutely. Roger from Brown & Brown Insurance, Roger Lynch. If you want to talk to Roger, you need to call me, Lori Davis, 772-538-1828. I'll get you in touch with Roger. Thank you so much for being at the show today. Thank you for being our guest. We always love having you here.
Love
so
being
much
here.
information. Guys, have a great day. Be safe out there. We'll see you here next week. Bye-bye.